Warning, some viewers may find the following footage deeply disturbing.
The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
Hey, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Let's get rambling, man. It's been like, what, almost 2 weeks, it feels like forever since we've been on the air. Welcome back to it. It is your Saturday afternoon delight, Ramblers Unleashed, all discussing the wonderful world of professional wrestling, WWE, TNA, AEW, man. We got a lot to dive into this week. Wow, what a week it's been. It feels like since we take some time away, it feels like news just comes out, you know. It's like to let it, you know, to tell us what's going on because they're going to know we're going to ramble about it, right?
Oh yeah. We've got the mixed bag of stuff to talk about tonight.
Boy, do we
today,
tonight, this afternoon, this weekend. Boy, it's a huge news week, and thankfully, yes, Courtney, everybody is here finally. Let's do the introductions. First up, it's Baron. He's returned from the land of palm trees and sunny skies known as California. Baron, welcome back to the program. How was your vacation, dude?
Hey, dude, it was great, man. Anytime you get away from where you live, I feel like it's a good time. I don't even care if you go to Wisconsin, you know, like it's it's a good time. I mean, it was a family, you know, like family vacation, so it doesn't really get much better than that.
Yeah,
all got to catch up and hang and see the ocean, and there's not too many places on earth that is quite as gorgeous as California.
The ocean, well, I don't know. South Carolina was pretty damn beautiful.
Yeah.
But the ocean, when you like look at the ocean, doesn't it just go for miles and miles? And it's kind of almost scary to look at the ocean.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. I think I said the same thing when I've seen it plenty of times in my life, but it still takes you back a little bit. It's weird. It could definitely be scary. Especially when we were out there, you know, I was riding the waves with obviously not surfing or anything, but there's a few times those waves came in. I'm like, holy shit, I'm out of shape here, man.
When I was in South Carolina, I didn't get into the water because I don't really swim, but when I was on the beach, they were all screaming, like the lifeguards were frantic and everybody was screaming about a shark. And I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I'm not in that damn water because fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah, luckily the chances of seeing one, it's pretty rare, but
yeah,
it's a good time, man.
Man,
it's Cali. There's a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Baron, for shits and giggles, give us your catchphrase, bud.
$9.99.
There you go. We got your $9.99 moment later coming up in the show. Next up, the neighborhood heel, a man with more wrestling knowledge in his pinky finger than Tony Khan could ever muster up, and the only guy that I know that loves Nickelback and pops bigger for Joel Gertner than any of us. You can address him as Mr. Magus, but we call him the mighty Maximus Magus. By the way, golfers clap for both the Baron and Max Magus, since I forgot the golfers clap for the Baron. I'm sorry, buddy. Max, how are you, man?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We don't have a live crowd tonight?
I don't know where the crowd is. I don't know. I guess they're napping, maybe.
Somebody wake them up.
Somebody wake them up. There we go. Hey,
listen, when you get older, a nap is always necessary, okay? Don't forget that.
I know.
Listen, I am doing great, and let me tell you why. Every day around the world, there are thousands of live events taking place, whether they be pro wrestling, boxing, UFC, comedy, something musical like Nickelback concerts. Those still take place. Motivation, self-help, and even conventions like Comic-Con. But not everybody gets the opportunity to be at a live event and actually say his name and have him appear, as I did last week Sunday at WWE No Mercy at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Yeah, I'm that guy.
How was it, man? Because we watched it on TV, but I'm sure it's an absolutely completely different experience live.
All right, first off, let's get the negative out of the way. Arenas need to update their chairs, the seats that you put people in. Those things are uncomfortable, especially when you have longer upper legs, and so your knee is pressed into the back of the seat in front of you. So get on it, Arenas. Make it easier for people to sit. Now, that being said, oh my God, go to a live WWE event, whether it's a PLE or a Raw or even a SmackDown. They were Raw and in No Mercy were amazing. I loved being there. They put on one hell of a show. I loved after the cameras went off, you had Jey Uso out there getting Damian Priest and Mommy doing the yeet with the crowd. Oh, nice. It was so much fun.
Nice, man. Nice. And yeah, I've not been to a Raw yet, or even a PLE.
We're gonna get that changed, Dizzy. You know, we have one coming in the St. Louis area.
I know. Did you talk to our connection yet?
Yeah, we're still waiting. It's smarter now that because we were trying to get tickets in the past, and they were super expensive because they're trying to sell 2 events. And this is the only leg of the tour they're doing where they're selling 2 shows at once. So if you were to buy tickets, you only want to go to SmackDown. You unfortunately have to buy NXT as well. So the prices are not cheap whatsoever.
Right.
I don't know. Our 2-night tickets were $159. When I was still down in Texas, I went to buy tickets it was just for Raw, and the similar seats to where I sat were over $200, and it was for a 1-night thing. So I don't know.
The ones we were looking at were almost like $400.
Ouch!
Holy crap!
Yeah, but they'll go down in price closer to the show when they're trying to get rid of a lot of tickets. So that's kind of what we're waiting on. We're going. I mean, like, I'm going. I don't care if anybody else wants to go. I'll drive by myself. But there is nothing like a live event. Like a WWE live event is.
I want to go just to say that I've been to a Raw. I want to go. That's
dude, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Out of everything else.
Listen, it's a little far for me to drive, Baron. But I know that it's not as far for, say, J-Bone to get out of Wisconsin. I'm sure he'd love to get out of Wisconsin at least for several hours.
J-Bone, we're looking at
as
you,
most
buddy.
Residents of Wisconsin.
Yeah. I've left Wisconsin a couple times in my life. Yeah. I got. Does Chicago count?
Chicago counts. I mean, we'll count it. We'll count it. But Max, welcome to the program. We'll get to the desk of Max Mages soon. Finally, the producer of our show, the man, the myth, the absolute legend, for without his tech wizardry and the gizmos that he brings to his show, plus his vast wrestling knowledge, and of course his missus that is so kind to gift us his time to do the show, for without him, we wouldn't be here today. The host of Smash's podcast and total nonstop impact with the latest TNA reviews on YouTube over any other podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, golfers clap. He is the great and infamous J-Bone. J-Bone, how you doing, buddy?
I'm back.
Yeah.
We all back.
Yeah.
I'm all right. Rough week last week, but we're good. We're good. You know, sometimes life hits you with stuff, but we're hanging in there. We're hanging in.
Well, our condolences to you, my friend, and it's always hard to go through stuff, and we're not going to dive into that here, but it's always hard to go through stuff. So we're happy that you're back. We're happy that you took some time mentally to just
you have to. You really do.
You do. You have to. It's kind of, you know, you need to do that to stay up to date with everything else in your life and to be productive anywhere. You know, you just have to. So, J-Bone, we're happy to have you back, buddy.
In the future, could you try to schedule it when Baron isn't already scheduled for vacation? That would really help out a lot.
Yeah, J-Bone, how dare you?
Well, I was like, well, hey, he's gone. I might as well too. No.
Copycat. We got J-Bone's
I tell you what, though, I would have rather been on a beach. I tell you that much.
I'm telling you, man, that would have been great. Baron.
I'm still there, honestly. I'm still there, which is weird though. Like, a lot of people don't understand about San Diego. It's always 70 degrees. There's not a different temperature for San Diego. Always beautiful. 70 degrees.
That's perfect.
Always, all year, pretty much. I mean, obviously at night it'll get down cooler, but the ocean's fucking freezing, dude. Like, it is so fucking. It is cold as hell. But once you get in and get used to it for a while, But yeah, I'm still mentally at the beach.
Even like the ocean air, because when I was in South Carolina in 2022, we went down to the beach at night, and that air was just cold. I couldn't imagine how cold the water is.
Yeah,
freezing.
If you have not, listeners, if you've not been to the beach, if you've not been to either coast, go. It is life-changing. I want to move to the coast. Like, I want to move to the East Coast. That's where I want to be. That's where my head has been since 2022, to be quite honest with you. But
I've been to the coast. I've been to the beach. And I'll tell you what, give me a mountain lake any day over a beach on the coast.
You've been to the Gulf, though. How was the Gulf?
I've been to the Gulf, too.
Yeah.
The Gulf was really interesting because even though I was about 45 minutes inland, I still felt that when the Gulf got hit with something a little stronger than a spring storm.
Right.
It's humid all the time. When I was in Gulfport a few years ago for work, it wasn't that bad. Even when the temperature got up there, it never got that far up there. But in Houston, let me tell you, that humidity will cause you to melt, and not in the way you need to melt. Trust me, I need to melt, and I wasn't melting the right way. But if you can go outside at 11, 12 o'clock at night, and it's still too hot to sit there on your back porch, you might be in the wrong part of the country.
That's a horrible feeling. That really is. That is. We've had a pretty mild summer here in Wisconsin, but let me tell you, sometimes when the temperature gets up there, like, I can take heat. Like, if it's dry heat, that's great. That's great for sinuses, asthma, everything. But when it gets humid, that is the worst thing.
Awful.
Is the worst feeling in the world of just sitting there and sweating, and you're just not doing nothing. You're just wet everywhere. It's like, ew.
Hate it. And me and Dizzy we live in the Midwest, and like, it is, summers here are unbearable. It's just
summer. Yeah, this summer in the Midwest was brutal. Like, it was bad. I didn't complain.
It was hotter down by you guys. It was cooler up here.
Humid.
Yeah. I don't complain about the weather much, and I try not to. I'm not looking forward to fall. I haven't stepped outside yet because apparently it's cooler than what it was yesterday. But I am not ready for fall. I'm not ready for it.
I was outside around midnight last night. It was in the 60s here. It felt good.
Yeah. It feels really nice out today. It's gorgeous.
I think I heard tonight here is supposed to be the low is like 44 degrees.
Ooh, good sleeping weather.
Oh yeah, pop the windows open.
I'm thinking
smoke a big old bowl before you go to bed. Perfect sleep.
And listen, not to get too graphic, but I have learned by living in humid regions and dry regions that even though they say there is a difference, but it's in location. And let me explain. All right. Up here in the dry heat, I get an uncomfortable, heat chafing in certain areas. Down there, said heat chafing was in more easy to deal with areas. That's the only reason I would choose that over this. I'm glad to be here because guess what I'm getting in about a month and a half? I'm getting the white flaky stuff, and I can't wait. I didn't get any of that last year. I want the snow back.
Ugh,
You know,
You're talking
there's shampoo for that, Max.
right? Yeah. I think you're talking about swamp ass, right, Max?
Well, the swamp ass hits anywhere. I'm talking about the side of things.
The ultimate swamp ass.
Listen,
is what he's talking about.
You cannot put a fat guy in any high temperature situation, human or not human, and not get swamp ass out of the deal. All right.
You said the white flaky stuff. Even Zach said dandruff. Oh
cold,
my
white flaky stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm good. You can have all that shit. J-Bone's nonstop analysis is coming up later in the show too, but we have a lot to dive into today. So let's go ahead and start it off. First, we'll kick it off with some WWE news. Odyssey Jones, he has been in the news quite a bit. It was recently discovered that he was removed from the WWE's website, and it's now been first it was confirmed that he was no longer on the webpage. Then it was, well, is there a glitch? Now it's been brought to our attention that he has been fired by the WWE following allegations of domestic violence. While they have not, the company has not issued an official press release, sources have stated that he has been terminated from the company. Jones, I'm talking about. The news comes after it was reported earlier that WWE had pulled Jones from all company programming and the website following these allegations, and his profile was removed from the roster page on Monday, and it was notably absent from Raw, and with no mention of him during a backstage segment following the New Day's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, which it sucks that they didn't know about this before they debuted Odyssey Jones. You know, why would they debut him and then say, oh, you've got some domestic violence allegations against you. We're just going to pull you from all programming, and we're going to pull you from the New Day. We're going to pull your push, everything. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Baron, did it make sense to you?
Well, I mean, when did they know about the allegations? They could have just found out about that after the fact. So I don't know.
Yeah,
the deep, analysis into what happened. But I mean, like, I imagine this happened after that push or whatever, which I imagine that push is going to be pretty good. They needed another bigger guy with them. But I agree 100% with how they handled this. Fired his ass and removed him and fired his ass. I mean,
yeah,
we don't do domestic violence. Or anything like
no,
that.
not at all. No.
At all. It's so. I'm glad they did what they did. Hopefully, we hear a little bit more about it, though.
I hope more news comes to us on this. Max, is it weird that they, gave Odyssey this big push and then found out that, you got some allegations against you, we got to pull you? Was it smart for them to do it that way, or should they have just not pushed this guy at all?
Well, first off, we waited how long, how many drafts that he got drafted in before we finally got to see him. And then, 2-3 weeks of TV time, and all of a sudden gone.
Yeah.
And I am one of those. Listen, I if you listen to me on any other social media site, I'm one of those that preaches always believe the victim. It's one of those things that is firmly ingrained in me. You got to believe the victim. And even if you doubt their story, show them support and listen to them. In this case, I don't think I would have fired him right away. I would have benched him while I looked into it as his employer, because you've been paying this guy for how long? You might want to take the time to get your money's worth out of him if you can. And if it turned out there was any truth to the allegations, okay, you've already been benched. You haven't been on TV. Let's go ahead and send you out the door. And if it turns out that the allegations are false, because right now that's all we're hearing is that it's allegations. If it turns out the allegations are false, you haven't just wasted all that money that you spent on this guy. But since we cut him right away at the first hint of an allegation, boom, now we've wasted how much money in 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah. And, J-Bone, we have to remember that even though we do believe the victim. We have to realize and recognize that the accused is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. It's a bummer. I was really excited for this guy, and like the second he hit the TV screen, I was like, "Whoa, who's this big dude?" This guy,
Yeah.
I mean, he had a ton of charisma, very athletic in the ring, and just it's a shame, man. It's a real shame. Look, and this as much as excuse me, as much as I'm not going to say that the guy can never come back, because we've seen that, we've seen people come back from other things. Hell, look at Zachary Wentz. He's having a great kind of a comeback story of his own right now. He's been on NXT. He's the new X Division champ in TNA. He went through a rough period too. And man, I don't see anybody protesting shows about him. It's people can change. And the first story I would refer you to is who we've been talking about lately is Rich Swann. The guy is trying to rehab himself.
He's coming up a little bit later in the news on when we dive into TNA.
We'll get into that. But I'm just saying, it's a damn shame. I get the protocol that they do that. They've always done that with everyone. I get it. I just hope. Hopefully it's a situation that he can come out of this. If it's not, it's completely understandable, but we're just going to have to learn more about the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. When more news comes of this, we will definitely pass it along to you. Let's move on. And Dark Side of the Ring has been a really popular show since their first season, and it's grown fairly to a huge show, diving into the dark secrets and aspects of pro wrestling. Now, according to good old JR, a new episode of Dark Side of the Ring with Mick Foley being featured in an upcoming episode has been talked about. Although the focus remains undisclosed, it's likely to address the lasting effects of injuries that Foley sustained during his legendary career. I'm excited for the new season of Dark Side of the Ring. J-Bone, have you watched the program? Are you excited for a new season?
Oh yeah, I used to review them all the time, and my audience depended on me to do that. And then I really got lazy with it and kind of fell off the bandwagon the last season or two. But yeah, I feel like they do a pretty good job. And not all of them are like, 5-star episodes, right. But Mick Foley has an audience that has a fan base that loves him. So right. I'm sure usually it's about someone that has fallen on dark times, has gotten involved in crime, drugs, and alcohol, and divorces, and abuse, and all that kind of stuff that comes up in these stories. Mick Foley he's been involved in controversial things, but it's more just the era that he wrestled in, I think, is the most controversial thing. So, they're probably going to make a big thing out of him losing his ear, which I can't wait to see how they portray that.
Yeah.
So, but I shouldn't laugh about that, but what? but he's, I grew up on Pee Wee Herman. Give me a break.
Right.
I love Mick. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Max. I know that you've always admired Mick Foley, and you have been a fairly big fan of Dark Side of the Ring. Does this excite you, or what are you most waiting for that they dive into, or hoping that they dive into with Mick?
Listen, with with someone like Foley, there's only one thing that you could be doing a Dark Side of the Ring episode about, and that's the insane risks that this man was willing to take to put the show on. And I'm talking the things that cost him his ear, the fall off the cell with Undertaker.
Right.
There's so many things that he has put extra risk into just to entertain the fans. And I don't necessarily consider it a dark side to the ring. Like some of the previous stories have been, some pretty bad stuff that took place. But I suppose that at this point, you want to cover one of your favorites. You got to take the worst thing you can find amongst their accolades. I am looking forward to this one. I mean, there's no way you can present a bad side of Foley, even if you are talking about the excessive risks he took in the business.
Right.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, Baron, it's awesome. I think it's really cool that Mick Foley is getting his own episode of the Dark Side of the Ring. It doesn't, I don't like just what Max and J-Bone said. I don't think that they'll dive into anything dark per se, but it is going to be nice to see Mick's aspects of things and his takeaway on certain things of why he did the moves that he did to build his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll just be different to be different, but I think his episode will be dark. I think what he kind of endured in the WWE at his period of time was probably pretty dark for him. I mean, like, he was that guy that nobody wanted anything to do with.
Right.
Like, he was not well respected at the time of like a Rock or Triple H or someone along those lines, but he was a champion and he took some of the most risk we've ever seen. And I think he had a lot of mental problems during that period of time in wrestling and a lot of back injuries. So I can only imagine what he was doing outside of wrestling, and, the family thing comes in the matter. So yeah, I could definitely see it being dark. He's never had an easy road in WWE. So it'll be definitely very interesting to watch. I can't wait for it, honestly. I always have a lot of respect for Mick Foley because I feel like he never, ever got the respect he deserved in wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that, J-Bone, I didn't give you this as the question of the day, but this is the question of the day for the audience. Are you excited for Mick Foley to get his own episode of Dark Side of the Ring? Let us know in the comments below and sound off. Let's dive into From the Desk of Max Mages, because we have another criminal thing to talk about, and this involves Tammy Stunny Stitch. She was originally scheduled for trial in October of 2024 this year. It's been postponed now to March of 2025. The trial is related to a lawsuit brought forth by the estate of Julian Lasseter, who tragically passed away from a traffic incident in March of 2022 involving Stitch. The decision to delay the trial was made during a recent hearing before the Circuit Court of the 7th Judicial Circuit in Volusia County, Florida. Now, the lawsuit, which seeks damage of in excess of $30,000, details the events leading to the tragic incidents. Now, without getting too legal, let me put this in layman's terms for you. Sonny was driving drunk northbound on Young Street in Florida, and Mr. Lasseter was also driving on Young Street southbound in the same intersection as Sonny. Now, the lawsuit claims that Sonny negligently operated her vehicle, resulting in a collision with a rear end of Lasseter's vehicle. The impact caused severe and incapacitating injuries to Lasseter, ultimately leading to his death on the same day. As the new trial date approaches in March 2025, further developments are expected to come of this, and the wrestling community, along with the public and us, will be watching very closely to see how this legal matter unfolds. Now, Max, we know that Sonny hasn't always been the best person in the past, in and out of the ring. But can you dive into what this could possibly mean for Sonny if she does lose the case?
Well, first off, let me start by saying I know this wasn't the question, but when I first heard that her case was getting postponed, I was a little pissed. I feel that Lassiter's family deserves resolution on this. They deserve to get that answer, whether the judge favors them or her, doesn't matter. They deserve the end of this, the closure. And then I looked it up, and it turns out there was conflicts with the court itself, and both sides agreed to this. So, all right, I'm not as pissed because originally, no offense to Ringside News, but the way they worded it made it sound like the postponement was on Sonny's side. But once I did some digging, I found out that it was mutual agreement. Both sides requested the court. So I'm not as upset about that. But here's the thing. If Sonny loses this, it's going to open the door for other civil suits to be filed against other wrestlers that have messed up. And do I agree with that? Oh, hell yeah. Do I think that flight attendant from the airplane ride from hell should be allowed to sue Ric Flair for what he did? Oh, I definitely do. And I like Ric Flair. Don't get me wrong. Sonny lost all my respect. But I like Ric Flair. I still think he should get his ass sued for that. Sonny is going to end up paying out $30,000 or whatever the judge decides. But she's in jail. She can't spend that money anyway. So really, it's not going to change much of her day-to-day life until she finds her way out of jail, which who knows when that'll be.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this from Sunny, because look, we know that her past has never been that sunny as her name consists of. So it's going to be interesting to see what dives or what goes down from this, and possibly other allegations to come forward from other, and lawsuits to come forward, just like Max said, from other wrestlers. So we'll have to dive into this. Let us know if you in the comments below think that Sonny should go to stay in jail or prison or whatever the case may be. What the outcome is going to be for this. Let's move on to Baron's $9.99 moment, and this involves the new Netflix documentary that the wrestling world is bracing for. It's highly anticipated and potentially explosive. The look into the life of Vince McMahon, as Netflix has officially affirmed and released a release date and the trailer for the documentary on the controversial figure. Despite the ongoing debate and serious allegations surrounding McMahon, the docuseries titled Mr. McMahon is set to premiere on September 25th. Now, originally announced in 2020, the Netflix documentary has been years into the making, with uncertainty clouding its release due to the sexual trafficking lawsuit and other allegations that have rocked McMahon's legacy. However, it was later confirmed that the series would indeed move forward. Now, according to Variety magazine, Mr. McMahon will consist of 6 one-hour episodes offering an in-depth exploration of Vince McMahon's rise to prominence and his subsequent fall from grace. The series promises to cover the full spectrum of McMahon's career and his transformation of WWE into a global entertainment powerhouse, to the sexual misconduct allegations that led to his resignation from the company. Now, the docuseries that was directed by Chris Smith, the filmmaker behind Tiger King, which Tiger King was amazing, and executive produced by Bill the 3030 fame, features over 200 hours of interviews from not only McMahon himself, but his family, business associates, wrestling legends, and journalists who played a role in uncovering the allegations against him. The series will tackle McMahon's complex legacy, especially in light of his current legal battles. It's expected to provide a candid and thorough examination of Vince McMahon. It's been reported that some folks in WWE are not happy about this upcoming documentary. So, Baron, with all that being said, are you excited for the documentary? And while they will probably bring up the allegation of Vince and Janelle Grant, do you think that they'll shed any other light on any other allegations against him? Meaning, like with the steroid use, I'm sure they'll talk about that. Any other things that have been brought against him from other people? Do you think we're going to see anything else from this?
Oh, God only knows what we're going to see from this. I imagine this is going to basically focus on his current things going on. I think we're all well aware of the steroid allegations from back in the day. Like we get it. There's no way nobody's going to ever explain to anybody that didn't happen. Like it did. We all know. But yeah, I mean, like this is going to be a pretty damn interesting watch. I just don't. The thing is with this, and like I guess Vince probably has a pretty good hand on this episode. How much are they going to block out? You know what I'm saying? How much are they actually going to talk about on this? That's going to be very interesting to see because a lot of stuff they're not going to be able to touch base on. So yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. And what was the date? When September
25th.
Yeah, it'll be one that I'll be watching live for sure.
Which is coming up very, very soon. I think it's one that all of us on the show will be watching. J-Bone, are you excited for it, man? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. I mean, as long as we've been watching wrestling, I'm sure a majority of this we already know. It's just depends on how it's presented to us. I mean, is it going to be presented as a lot like a package of controversial happenings in his lifetime? Is it going to be a rise and fall? Is it going to be a puff piece? I mean, it is maybe a little bit of all those things. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how everyone, because I mean, there's some big names in there too. Hogan's in there, Stone Cold. The Rock's in there.
Take what Hulk Hogan's saying with a grain of salt. I am gonna just touch base on this right quick, and I'm never gonna mention it again. I don't believe a fucking thing that guy says. He's fucking annoying. He's don't get me started on the other stuff. It's just no. Kiss my ass, Hulk Hogan. You fucking. Yeah, let me go back to you.
When he told you to drink your milk and take your vitamins, dude, I still do that. I still do that to this day, man. It's
anyways.
We're supposed to take vitamins? Why didn't anybody tell me this? I haven't been listening to Hogan for years.
With all that being said, though, Max, I'm glad you chimed in. Are you excited to see this episode? Or the series?
The thing that excites me about it is that Vince had zero say in what was in the final cut.
That is great. I love that.
Oh, really? I was thinking maybe he did. That's why I was kind of worried about the episode. So he doesn't have anything. But he's going to be on the episode, though, right?
They made it clear that he has zero call as to what they leave in and what they take out. So if he was dumb enough to say it when they were filming, it probably made the final cut. Nice. So for that reason and that reason alone, I do want to see this because I want to see what he said without thinking.
Yeah, that is a good point of view. I like that. So are you, audience, are you excited about this new docu-series coming out regarding Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, that will debut on Netflix September 25th? That's the countdown is on for that, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm just going to hide in my apartment all day and just watch every thing that I can on that, but I'm excited for it. We've got AEW coming up soon and our All Out 2024 predictions on the way, but let's move on to some TNA news. And first up, we have a new face in TNA after making appearances for the promotion earlier this year. Heather Reckless is now part of the roster, solidifying her spot after impressing the TNA Impact tapings in Chicago and Kentucky. Reckless first worked with TNA in June, taking on Ash by Elegance during the Chicago tapings, and later returned to tapings following TNA emergence in Kentucky. After her match in Kentucky, Reckless didn't have to wait long for good news. Gail Kim, a legend in women's wrestling and a key figure in TNA Knockouts division, personally offered her a contract. J-Bone, when you announced this, did you announce this news on TNI and were your fans excited for this?
Oh yeah, we've in fact Reckless started making herself known to the TNA audience last year. She was showing up during the I can't remember. There was a series of shows that they did during the summer. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but yeah, whether it was a longer match or a squash match or whatever it is, she did great. She really did. So fans, especially in the Midwest, have been clamoring for this for a while. So the fact that and you know some people started freaking out recently because some of the let's be real about it, some of the other knockouts have been in the news. Killer Kelly's pregnant, so she's not going to be back for a long time. If she ever comes back to wrestling, we don't know. But you know, everyone who decides to go off and have a kid, and you know, some come back, some don't. So you know, we just gotta wait and see. Lish was just banged up. She's got concussion protocol. Havoc's been gone for a while. Looks like we'll get into the stuff with Giselle Shaw later. She's leaving the company.
That's part of your total nonstop analysis. So
it's we'll get into it. But yeah, so yeah, I mean the company's losing, and then of the eventual, you know, it looks like Jordan's going to head off to the WWE somewhere within the next year.
Yeah.
So it's great to see new faces. It's always refreshing. That's one thing TNA has always been able to do throughout the years is make new stars. So it's great to see her. I enjoyed her segment this week. It was funny because she was kind of like thrown in the middle of some knockouts drama backstage, but she's going to debut next week against one Giselle Shaw. So her first official in-ring match.
So let's talk about Giselle as part of your total nonstop analysis. Giselle Shaw has officially parted ways with TNA. According to sources, Shaw recently requested her release from the company, which was granted under the condition that she complete the Louisville tapings and put over other talent on her way out. The final match was reportedly filmed this past weekend. The departure was described as amicable, with TNA management working smoothly to grant Shaw's release without any resistance. Now, this marks the end of Shaw's nearly 3-year tenure with the company, where she was involved in several high-profile feuds, most recently with Tasha Steelz. While Shaw did not capture any championships in TNA, she did compete for the TNA Knockouts Tag Team ROH Women's World Championship title and a AAA title too, and New Japan Strong Women's title during her time with the promotion. Now, additionally, she held the Progress Women's Championship during her tenure, but Giselle has already been booked for Scott D'Amore's Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling later this year, and some say that she will join that promotion. So, J-Bone, what's going on with Giselle, man? Is this a step down in her career, or is she gonna make a bigger impact with Maple Leaf?
It's I wouldn't necessarily say it's a step down. I mean, yeah, you could say that maybe as far as like company wise being well known or something like that, but it's what suits her right now, you know. She's been known to have we'll just say close ties with Scott D'Amore, and when the stuff, and we've covered this before too, but when the stuff happened with Scott D'Amore, it kind of seemed like it was only going to be a matter of time before some people started showing their lines of loyalty to either TNA or the man himself, Scott D'Amore. So, and now I think we're starting to see a little bit of that. Not it's, you know, we're not seeing, you know, a massive walkout or anything like that, but Yeah, and it's to whatever fits their careers at the time. You know, if Giselle wants to do that, then she wants to do that, then hey, we wish her well. I think she's been a tremendous addition to the Knockouts roster. It's been a lot of fun watching her grow her career between Wild Women of Wrestling and TNA. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be a TNA fan, to watch people come in and out of the promotion, and new faces and faces that are leaving the promotion. This is professional wrestling, so anything can change on a drop of a dime. But let's dive into some more legal news regarding TNA. The former TNA champion Rich Swann recently appeared in court to address charges of disorderly public intoxication and causing a disturbance stemming from an incident last June. Swann entered a no contest plea, which is used in Florida when a defendant neither admits nor denies the charges, but it serves as an alternative to pleading guilty or not guilty. Now, following his plea, the court found Swann guilty, fining him $203 and placing him on 6 months of probation. He was also ordered to pay an additional $285.38 in related fees. Once Swann completes his probation and pays all fines, the case will be considered closed. This all follows Swann's arrest in June 9th this year, occurring after he allegedly tried to enter his apartment near his own, enter an apartment near his own, claiming it was his residence. The homeowner, armed with a firearm, confronted Swann, who subsequently left the property. Although the homeowner denies the press charges, declined to press charges, rather, there was reported damage to the front door. Now, authorities received a separate report from a woman who claimed Swann followed her to her door after she asked him not to. So, with all this being said, guys, I want to ask this to you. First, we'll start with J-Bone, because J-Bone, TNA is J-Bone's baby. Is Swann headed back to TNA after all this? Do you think he'll be back?
Well, I know he's also working on rehab. I don't know how long the actual suspension is going to be for. I don't believe that's been stated as far as what's been laid down from the company of TNA itself. I'm just first and foremost, I want to say he's damn lucky. You know, I've been critical of the justice system before. He's very lucky. It's he basically. Yeah, I'm not saying they should have thrown the book at him, but when there's a case like this and it looks like he's been a repeat offender, which he has been, sadly, you know, sometimes I feel like you should be, you know, it should be a stiffer sentence. He basically got let off with a slap on the hand, but that's not to say he's not serious about his recovery and such. So hey, we wish him well. I hope he does come back someday a healthier, a better rehabilitated person. And I didn't know any of the details until you just mentioned what he actually had been arrested for. So I'm happy it only was that, and that it wasn't some well, we'll just say something like Sonny, you know.
Sonny, right.
So
or
yeah,
domestic violence issues with Odyssey Jones or anything like that. So
right. And so yeah, I'm glad he's chosen the high road. He's trying to fix himself. We've heard from our sources that he is doing better. He has been actually sober for a while now. This is all stuff that happened a few months ago, but it's catching up with him now, you know, and that stuff typically does. So yeah, we wish him the best. I hope to see him again on the other side of this. We don't know how long it's going to be.
Right. Max, I know that you've been involved in several different promotions during your time in Colorado. Have you ever ran into anything like this happening in your promotion, or not? And if you did ever run into this, were they welcomed back into the company with open arms?
So I did run into a couple of things, but not quite like this. One of the guys that we worked with the older long running Fed I was with got accused of, let's just say he was a teacher, and he was one of those that got accused of those things.
Oh no.
And we cut ties with him immediately, just because even the hint of that could reflect badly on us, even if he's found innocent.
Mhm.
The other one, they actually had evidence of what he was doing. And he was apparently running around at a mall with his camera out on his phone, and he was taking pictures with his camera way down like this on the escalator, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And that one got ties cut with him right away.
Oof.
I can't say that we've had anything quite like Rich Swann. I don't think there's anybody out there that's quite like Rich Swann. I mean, if you remember what the previous charges were that got him released from WWE, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I've never had anybody accused of that in my 20 plus years in the business. And I got to be honest, look, if he's doing better, great. I'm not the guy that usually says this dude needs to be fired from wrestling because of his personal life. I try to avoid that when possible, but come on. This guy was arrested for kidnapping and false imprisonment of his wife. That led to him being released from the WWE. And now we have this charge that he has pled guilty to, which fortunately is only public intoxication and disorderly conduct. So not nearly as bad as the previous charge, but if he can prove that he is staying clean, fine. Bring him back to TNA. But if he slips up even once while he is on probation, I would not renew his contract. I would not bring him back. I would say, sorry, you're a liability.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Baron, do you agree with that? Do you agree with what Max said?
I guess I agree with what he said. Yeah, no, I definitely do.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on what happens with Rich Swann and all the other legal stuff that we've talked about today regarding, Odyssey Jones, Sonny Stitch, and as we head into AEW news, we have another legal thing going on. Yes, sir.
I got one more note for TNA, and then we'll move on. There was a promo on Thursday night's show for another new knockout debuting soon. It's coming soon. It looks like the former WWE's Xia Li is going to be joining the promotion, so we're very excited about that.
Awesome. Welcome to the family for TNA. That's awesome.
Yes. Yep.
We got our AEW All Out 2024 predictions coming up as we head into some AEW news, and we kick things off with Kevin Kelly. He's known for his work with wrestling promotions like WWE, Ring of Honor, and New Japan. He found himself amid some controversy following reports of his departure due to some sort of rants just before AEW Revolution. With that said, it now appears that he's filed a lawsuit against AEW for breach of contract along to other former talents. Now, speculation grew when Kevin Kelly abruptly disappeared from AEW, only to return later, which sparked mixed reactions from fans. Tensions increased when Kelly publicly criticized Ian Riccaboni before the AEW Revolution pay-per-view, accusing him of defamation and revealing his own importance to the company. Now, according to Wrestling News, 3 former talents who were terminated by AEW now have filed a lawsuit against the company and other parties. The plaintiffs, announcer Kevin Kelly and wrestlers Brandon and Brendan Tate, submitted the lawsuit on August 30th in the Philadelphia County, Pennsylvania Court of Common Pleas. Here's a legal action represented by attorneys Stephen Pinu and Benjamin Baird. They seek to invalidate the arbitration clause in their talent contracts and request the court to certify a class action lawsuit against AEW. The core of their claim is that AEW is misclassifying its wrestling talent as independent contractors rather than employees. The lawsuit also follows the April release of the Tate brothers, known in the wrestling world as the Boys, from their ROH contracts, allegedly due to budget cuts. However, ROH owner Tony Khan asserted during media events that the release was because the brothers missed several scheduled events, and an accusation they strongly denied. Now, this dispute is now central to the defamation claims the Tate brothers have brought against Tony Khan. Kevin Kelly, whose real name is Kevin Foote, by the way, he's also pursuing monetary damages. He alleges that AEW breached his contract and interfered with his ability to find other employment opportunities. Additionally, AEW announcer Ian Riccaboni is named in the lawsuit, with Kelly accusing Riccaboni of defaming him on social media by suggesting he was affiliated with QAnon. Now, attorney Stephen Pinu released a statement praising the plaintiffs for their courage in challenging what they argue is a misclassification of professional wrestlers as independent contractors instead of employees. He acknowledged the difficulty of the case, but expressed confidence that justice would ultimately prevail. All right. So with that being said, we know that AEW has had some troubles in the past. We know that they currently have troubles with their programming and with their storylines and things like that. This, to me, and we'll start with Max, this, to me, brings a whole new light to what we've been talking about as far as wrestlers doing their own storylines, not following creative, and not really being a part of the creative team, saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do, like it or not. And that's what we've been getting on AEW programming as far as we've known. Does this bring new light to this situation for you, Max? Is it like a ding? Oh my God, this all makes sense. Do you think that we're headed in the right direction with this lawsuit against Tony Khan and AEW? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to start by saying something that's very controversial in the wrestling business. Owen Hart was right. The professional wrestling world needs a union.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, let me explain something. Okay. If I'm an independent contractor, that means I should be able to pick and choose what I do and where I go. Mm-hmm. And if I decide I don't want to show up on this date at this location, that's my choice. And it shouldn't affect my job standing with you because I'm an independent contractor and I make my decisions. However, if you miss out on a date that they tell you to be at, you're the one at fault, even though you're an independent contractor. To me, them being able to discern that and say, well, you missed the May 25th show, that means you're an employee. You are employed by that company. You are beholden to their rules, to their dates, to their scheduling, whatever they decide. You're beholden to that. That's the case. Fine. Classify me as an employee, and I will show up at every date you tell me to, because as an employee, that is an obligation that I have. Now, I think that this lawsuit is really going to bring out to the public eye that dispute between the wrestling companies and the wrestlers themselves. And once again, I'm on the side of wrestlers should be classified as employees if you are going to treat them as an employee and not as an independent contractor. If you want to keep, I don't care which way we go, but you're going to treat them as what they are. That's my point. If you're going to treat them as an employee, classify them as an employee. If you're going to call them an independent contractor, go back to treating them as such.
Right.
That's a really good point. Baron, I know that you have been really, really super critical of Tony Khan and AEW. Is this a good step in the right direction as far as this lawsuit goes with Kevin Kelly and the Tate brothers against AEW? Do you think that AEW has a good case against this as far as their defense goes?
Everybody's suing everybody anymore, man. It's like, well, we've talked for the last hour about lawsuits. I mean, like, I don't get what the hell's going on with, it's just, I don't know, it's mind-boggling to me, and it's hard to keep up with. And I don't know what AEW is doing, and I have been very critical of them, and I will continue to be critical of them forever until things are, straightened out. But yeah, I got to read more about it because I'm just so so many other things like lawsuits are happening. It's just one after another. But like Max said, I think like a wrestler union would be a good thing, but also probably not a good thing. In wrestling because it's never happened. Everybody's suing everybody. I don't get that.
J-Bone, should we have a wrestler union? Should there be some sort of union to say, hey, this is because we have a teacher union, we have other unions as far as employees go, as workers. Do you think wrestlers need their own union?
Well, the first union I ever heard of growing up was what was that? Duran Duran's Union of the Snake. Wasn't that a song or something like that? I know I'm dating myself here. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's a separate thing for professional wrestlers itself and this is like, for like any level, honestly, for independent or big name companies. If it's something separate that's created that you have some kind of representation, I'm absolutely for it. Now, the other way to go about it is something that I've actually heard. I heard it on his show. I haven't listened to his show recently, but Freddie Prinze Jr. Prinze Jr. has his own podcast. And I've heard in the past before that he has talked about trying to get professional wrestlers on there's I can't remember what it's called. I apologize. There's an actors union.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, that's honestly a lot of, okay, not all wrestlers act per se, but it's an art, it's a sport, it's whatever you want to call it. Whether it's something in the realm of that or its own created thing in the sports business, I think I absolutely agree that there's something should have been around like that for decades. And I think the reason why it hasn't been is because there isn't enough people to actually take it seriously. But it's a business. It is, it's worldwide. It absolutely should be something that's out there for these athletes, these performers, whatever you want to classify them as.
Sure. Well, let's keep going because as you just said, business. Tony Khan made a really interesting statement last night on Collision. Warner Brothers Discovery, which broadcast AEW's flagship shows like Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, have become a crucial partner for the wrestling promotion, leading to a more unified presence along their platforms. Now, following last night's episode of Collision and Rampage in Chicago, Khan addressed the live crowd, confidently reassuring that fans that AEW is set to remain on TBS and TNT for a long time. His remarks strongly suggested that an extended deal with Warner Brothers Discovery has been reached, as he hinted, as a prosperous future with the network, even playfully making the money gesture to emphasize the significance of the agreements. So that's good. I'm glad that talks are being, done and conducted as far as, Warner Brothers Discovery and AEW goes. So let's compare. Let's compare and contrast. Let's talk about AEW All In 2024, as that turnstile count has been revealed. The event held at Wembley Stadium featured several unforgettable moments, including Ricochet's shocking debut, Nigel McGuinness, his return to the ring after 13 years. However, one of the most discussed aspects of the event is the attendance numbers, particularly the turnstile count. Now, according to WrestleNomics, the All-In event from AEW at Wembley Stadium had a turnstile count of 46,476, as confirmed by Brent Council. The numbers reflect the actual number of tickets scanned for admission, proving a more accurate figure of how many people attended the event. In contrast, WrestleTix analysis estimated that 53,393 tickets were distributed, including both sold and complimentary tickets. So that is a lot of tickets. But honestly, we were talking about this in the chat, and that's not a bad number as far as how many tickets were actually sold or complimentary versus how many tickets were scanned. It's not a bad number.
No, it's a great number. I mean, okay, comparing the two from last year, yeah, there is a significant difference, but man, that's anytime you draw that many fans, that's a win. I don't care where you are, you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's compare this to the current All Out 2024 ticket sales. And this has been just some hours ago. This was released, so we don't have obviously the show's not on the air yet. People aren't in their seats. All the tickets haven't been scanned, but it's All Out is set to go down tonight at the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. And the latest ticket update shows the promising numbers for this. This is a flagship show for the company, of course, but seats are still available for this. Now, according to WrestleTix, the current setup for the event allows for 8,582 seats, with over 8,035 tickets already distributed, leaving just 547 seats still available. That marks a pretty significant increase of 425 tickets sold since their last update, showing that fans are still picking up tickets for the show. Now, for context, last year's All Out event was held at the United Center, where a total of 9,826 tickets were distributed. While this year's event is being held in a smaller venue, the current number suggests that it will be a well-attended show. With the excitement building around tonight's event, it will be interesting to see if the remaining tickets sell out before the show begins. I hate that Baron just dipped out real quick, but let's go to Max. Now, regarding the numbers between Wembley and tonight's show for All Out, honestly, man, you can't say that that's a bad turnout.
Well, here's my thing. Okay, we covered the fact that they sold or gave away 53,000 tickets for All In. Why would you limit yourself to 53 out of 90,000 seats? So that means that they would have sold those other tickets had there been interest. And so my question is, 53 is a good number, don't get me wrong, but you previously sold more seats in that building. How did you drop that many seats in a year? But 53 is still a good number. I'm not going to argue that. And I just looked it up. The arena they're going to tonight seats 11,218. How many did you say have sold so far for that?
So far, let me go back up here real quick. The current, according to WrestleTix, The event allows for 8,582 seats with 8,035 tickets already distributed, which leaves 547 still available.
Okay. So first off, that is a big jump over the numbers we saw a couple days ago because they'd only sold 2,938 tickets a couple days ago. So the fact that they have now jumped up to 8,000, that's a good jump for them. And I understand that you have some seats that you cannot fill because you have to have your entrance. But we're talking about 3,000 seats taken out of the mix that you possibly could have sold. In this case, it looks like it's going to work out for them because right now they're only down by 500 of what they're saying, what they're talking about selling. But I still feel like if you're doing as well as you think you are, that 8,500 some odd tickets should have been gone when tickets went on sale.
Yeah.
So I'm a little nervous about AEW's chances with their jumping down to this size of an arena right after being in in Wembley Stadium. I don't want the workers to lose their jobs. Let's be clear, but I want AEW to start running things as an actual business and not just his fantasy camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I do agree with that. But J-Bone, these numbers that are coming out, man, for not only for All In, but so far for All Out, they're not bad. I don't know if the venue says, "Hey, we're not going to be able to fill up all the seats," or if the company says we're not going to be able to fill up all the seats. But for a venue like All Out at the Now Arena in Illinois, they should be able to fill the 11,000 seats that they have easily.
Yeah, and this is the original venue that housed the original All In prior to the inception of All Elite Wrestling, and I was there for that show. So yeah, it holds, we'll just say 11,000 ish fans. Why they're not filling them up to this much, I don't know. It is there is a, let's be real, and I don't like to talk about this kind of stuff, but there is a different economy now than there was 5 years ago. And it affects everyone. I mean, look at Milwaukee, this last Dynamite. Very similar size as far as amount of people venue, and Milwaukee brought in between 2,000 to 3,000 people. It's a sign of the times. It's a sign of the times. You can have Okada, Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay, MJF, these top performers, and if you've got a poor ass city, you got a poor ass city.
Yeah, I mean, so you talked about the economy and the prices and everything like that, and I'm going down to the list here. The cheapest ticket that you can purchase for AEW for All Out tonight is $32 each, and the highest ticket, which I would assume is row one, it's front row, it's just over $1,000 each. So if you really wanted good seats, the best-selling option for you is a ticket for $182 for tonight's All Out in near Chicago. So that's, I mean, honestly, that's not a bad price compared to what WWE tickets cost for cheaper seats to their shows. Now, Baron, I know that welcome back, by the way. I know that you have been very, very critical of AEW. Now, in case you missed it, let's go back and tell you what the All-In turnstile count revealed and what the All Out 24 ticket sales are as of right now. So the turnstile for All In 24 in Wembley was 46,476 with an estimated ticket sale of, well, estimated ticket distributed 53,393. For tonight's show, Russell Tickets, according to Russell Tickets, the current setup for the event allows 8,582 seats with 8,035 tickets already distributed, leaving 547 tickets still available. That is a pretty good number, I would think, for that, especially with the price of tickets, the cheapest seats at what, $32. Baron, that's not a bad price.
No, I mean, anywhere you go to any wrestling event, no matter where you sit, really, you see everything. Yeah. I mean, and for $32, I mean, are people complaining about it? I'm confused here.
No, people aren't complaining about it. We're just comparing and contrasting the numbers from Wembley to now, because there have been talks of AEW. The seats are not like, nobody comes in to fill up the seats, especially like for the flagship shows and things like that. They seem to sell out better on pay-per-views than they do on their flagship shows. So what we're doing right now is we're just comparing and contrasting the numbers between Wembley and tonight so far for All Out. I'm kind of anticipating the numbers, the turnstile numbers for All Out tonight.
I just don't think there's, obviously wrestling, as we could tell, whether it's AEW, WWE, overseas, they always have a bigger audience, right? Yeah. In my mind, they do. It feels like more close-knit audience. And then we kind of also got to realize that people really give a shit about their show. Have they given them enough material for them to go to the show?
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing with, especially this turnaround, when was Wembley? That was
Wembley was August. What was it? August 25th.
About 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And now we have another show.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? There's not enough buffering time for those avid fans, whether they're anywhere in the United States, to go to those shows because they're just too close together. I think that's the biggest thing. With that, for me, it's just you're having way too many big shows, like PLEs or pay-per-views or whatever we're going to call them, right, too close together.
Right.
Well, that, and think about how much time. I mean, All In was 5 hours from 6 hours or something from beginning to end. And if you look over the entire match list, including the pre-show, you're talking another 5-6 hours for All Out too.
Yeah, they're long shows. I mean, and you got to realize when you go to these shows, you got to, you got to travel to the show. You got to, whether you're taking the Amtrak or you're taking a bus or whatever you're doing to get to the show, driving to the show. And then after the show, after 6 hours, 8 hours of a show, you got to do it all. A lot of people are not interested in doing that right now.
No Mercy started at 5 p.m. local time. The only time zone that matters, mine. And it ended between 8:15 and 8:30 that night as well. And they still put on one hell of a show. I mean, it was amazing. And they kept it down to 3.5 hours. I don't understand why. And if I remember, they did have a pre-show match or two, but I think they treated it more dark than actual, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand why Tony Khan can't get the formula down himself.
Well, yeah, you got to realize too, man, and I keep thinking this every time we watch, one of their PLEs or whatever. They have so many damn people on their roster. They almost have to do these shows every 2 weeks, to get them all filled in to have matches. They have a stacked roster. A lot of people that should be on there.
Well, it's just like it's just, sorry to cut you off, Max. It's just like what Baron said, though. We just had All In almost 2 weeks ago, and now we're getting to All Out. We haven't had time to have these storylines build. I was just talking to somebody about this at work yesterday, and I said, what are we doing at All Out already? Why are we at All Out already? I mean, the biggest story the storyline is the ongoing or continuation of Swerve, Strickland, Hangman Adam Page, where Page burned down his house that he just bought. You know,
So
and
tomorrow will be actually 2 weeks from the last show.
this doesn't make any
Dead on
sense.
2 weeks.
It
I just
doesn't
had to look it up. Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't understand why we're already here from All In. I mean, All In Wembley was massive. We would never see a back-to-back PLE or pay-per-view from WWE because WWE is in the business of building a storyline. They're in the business of building anticipation. I have no anticipation for All Out. There was nothing that led from All In to now that we're at All Out as far as my anticipation is built,
Yeah. There was a time though when WWE was running pay-per-views every 3 weeks back when they had like separate PLEs for each brand.
That is true.
That was exhausting.
Maybe that's something AEW could do instead of doing what they're doing now. Maybe have something similar like that because I feel like they're. Let me do some research, see how big their roster actually is. I don't know how many people are on their active roster, but I'm curious.
I think they need to do a brand split. I think that there needs to be something done because this is just it's exhausting. Even as us talking about it and predicting and reviewing shows, it is just so exhausting because we had a big weekend of wrestling.
I need a nap.
I know. We had a good weekend of wrestling, and it felt like it was just the momentum of it was just crazy with AEW, and we had WWE, and then we had NXT, and then there was TNA, and it was just a whole lot. And AEW is not helping this at all by putting on these big pay-per-views back to back to back to back to back to back to back with no time span as far as building a storyline. That's been my biggest gripe with this company is that we need to start building storylines. Because I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. There's rivalries and then there's actual storylines. Like the rivalries are okay. It sets up good matches. And then there's actual storylines with like what we're seeing with Swerve and Adam Page. And that is some that is some heavy stuff. I think that it's a good stuff like that that's going to carry this pay-per-view.
They have 166 active people on their roster, and that could be off a few.
That's a few.
That's a couple.
That is a lot. Max, what were you going to say, bud?
J-Bone, was it TNA that did a weekly pay-per-view for a little while there?
That was the inception of the NWA TNA. Yeah, they did the $10 shows. There was me and the TNI guys reviewed all 111 of the Asylum shows. Yeah, and that was before their TV deal.
Right.
So yeah, and that was groundbreaking at the time.
Here's my thing on that side of it, and then I want to talk about brand split because now Williams mentioned it in the chat.
Bill.
Here's the thing: WWE had their brand split pay-per-views every month, and realized that was not a sustainable model because nobody wanted to pay them for 2 WWE pay-per-views every month. So people were choosing their favorite shows, so they just started doing both brands on the same PLE again. Yeah. TNA was doing the weekly one, and even though it was a much lower price point than a standard pay-per-view, people just didn't want to pay every week. Now, I mean, in the beginning, I'm sure TNA was getting a lot of subscriptions each week, but as it went on, people were like, I'm spending too much money on this. They're backing out. So Tony's going to have to realize that, especially because All In, All Out, and Full Gear are their 3 biggest pay-per-views. You can't have 2 of your biggest pay-per-views 2 weeks apart. That's just dumb on your part, okay? No. Now, Bill here makes a really good point, and I wanted to bring this up. He said, brand split? You mean like Ring of Honor? you already have 3, technically 5 if you bring back Dark and Rise, but you have 5 programs that you could feasibly work your people onto. And you wouldn't have, I still think you might have to cut 1 or 2 because of the oversaturation, but it would be a minimal amount of cutting. You got Ring of Honor, you got Collision, you got Dynamite. You bring back Dark and Rise, then you have 5 places to split your roster up, and you don't have to do 9-hour pay-per-views anymore.
Right. Yeah. And right now, I mean, the 3 big shows right now are Rampage, Collision, and Dynamite, which if you split all those guys up, make your roster Rampage guys, Collision guys, Dynamite guys, the big guys, like what WWE did with the brand splits. There you go. You've accurately done what you've needed to do to fix the saturation, the oversaturation, and you also can put on these pay-per-views that aren't back to back to back to back to back and build up some storylines, build up some anticipation for the crowds, because look, storylines sell. That's what sells tickets. That's what puts asses in seats, is a good storyline, you know. And if Tony is worried, or the reason that we're seeing so many people not in seats for AEW shows is because A, nobody can follow the fucking storyline. B, there's no anticipation for these shows. There's no anticipation for anything. Why am I going to pay $32 to go see? That's like me paying $32 to go see an indie show in my backyard. It just doesn't make any sense because I don't know what's going on.
So you mentioned Rampage. I had forgotten that. So here's the thing. Split them up amongst the 3. Dynamite, Rampage, Collision. That leaves Ring of Honor. What are we going to do with Ring of Honor? We're going to make it like NXT. Yes. That's where we bring these people in, where they hone their skills, but they're doing it on TV like NXT does. And then at some point, they're going to get drafted to one of the 3 main rosters.
Yeah.
He's got all the tools right there at his disposal, and he refuses to pick them up and use them.
Yes. That's what they need to do. Listen to us, Tony. We know what we're talking about. Jesus Christ.
It's like you can lead Dizzy away from the beer, but he's still going to find a way to drink it.
Absolutely. Damn right. Damn right. I'm going to find a way to drink it. And I'm going to drink it very freaking happily, mind you.
I'm just going to smell it.
All right. With that being said, let's move on to the All Out 2024 predictions. And, I didn't think about any dark matches, but Max, I'm glad you found the dark matches. Let's go over the dark matches real quick. And we'll start with you, Max, since you found it. The Undisputed Kingdom, Roderick Strong, Max Hogan, and Mike Bennett versus the Beast Mortis and Shane Taylor Promotions versus Action Andretti and Top Flight. Yeah, honestly, what do you think, man?
First off, I want to point out that we have 4 matches on the pre-show, and 3 of them are trios matches. The last one's a tag team. Oh, look, he found a way to squeeze that many more people into this card. But I'm going to be honest with you, Roderick Strong and Mike Bennett are 2 of the best workers I've seen in a while. I'm picking them to win this match over... Listen, I don't even know who Mortis is at this point.
I have no idea.
Mortis is... let's see, how do I say this? The artist formerly known as Black Taurus from TNA and AAA.
Boy, that clears up everything.
Same guy, different scarier mask.
Yeah. I'm going with that guy to win.
Yeah. Let's go with the Dark Order versus the Bang Bang Gang in a trios match. Who do you have, Max?
Who names these people?
I don't know.
I'm going to go with the Bang Bang Gang because, damn it, that's a... Yeah.
It's a good fucking name. Anytime I see that on a prediction, I'm picking them every time because of the name. I don't care if I've ever seen them on TV or not. The Bang Bang Gang is winning.
Here's my TNA unique sense of humor to throw in that match. So somewhere PCO is going.
Let's see, Max, the Acclaimed versus the Iron Savages.
Hey, listen, all I gotta say is scissor me daddy ass. I'm going with the Acclaimed.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, for the last pre-show match, Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, and Hologram versus the Premier Athletes.
Oh, they got Smart Mark with them too. Oh, that's tough.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm gonna go Dustin, Sammy, and Hologram because Spanish Fly. You know.
All right. Let's move on to the main card for you, Max. The AEW World Championship match: Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry.
And Danielson is the current champion. I'm thinking he's going to retain this.
Okay. AEW International Championship match between Will Ospreay and the Bastard Pack.
Ospreay retains.
Okay. AEW TBS Championship match between Mercedes Moné and Hikaru Shida. I hope I said that right.
Hikaru Shida.
Hikaru, but yeah. She who shall not be named will retain. I really wish it was Hikaru winning, though.
Okay. By the way, Camille is banned from ringside for that match. The AEW Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks and Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta.
What? They're actually defending their tag titles? Oh my God, that's unprecedented. They're probably going to retain. The Bucks will probably retain their tag titles because they're booking it.
Yeah. The Chicago Street Fight between Willow Nightingale and Kris Statlander.
All right. I was looking over the card before we actually got on air, and I got to be honest with you, this one was the toughest one for me. Both of these girls can go rounds in that ring. They're both talented. I got to go with the alien, Kris Statlander, though.
All right. The Steel Cage Lights Out match between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page.
I suspect that they're going to put Hangman over to keep this story going a little longer.
Okay. The AEW Continental Championship match between Kazuchika Okada versus Orange Cassidy versus Mark Briscoe versus God dang it, Takeshita. Jesus Christ.
Yes, you got it.
I feel like Porky Pig.
You know, here's the thing. I'm pretty good at pronouncing the names that wrestling companies throw at us. I'm not really wanting to risk anything on this, so I'm going to say Orange Cassidy for the win.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. Or Mark Briscoe, whichever one. And finally, MJF versus Daniel Garcia.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is the big storyline match of the night. Mm-hmm. This was Daniel just made his return 2 weeks ago. This is a lot of emotion invested in this match. And one thing that MJF does is shut down emotion. I'm rooting for MJF.
All right. Baron, we'll go with you next. Do you care about the pre-match? Do you care about any pre-matches?
You're muted, sir.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
No, not whatsoever. But I will make one comment about the pre-show matches.
Yeah.
We do have AEW Trios champions, right? If I'm not mistaken, Blackpool Pack. Those are champions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have 3 Trios matches on the pre-show. No Trios match on the main show with the titles.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So no, don't care.
That's just another shining example of the quality booking that comes out of cocaine.
Yes,
I
right.
don't know. I've talked about my past problems in life, and I felt like cocaine has never elevated me to a level of what AEW has. So whatever he's snorting over there, give it another try. I don't know.
Ooh.
Oh, well, with that being said, let's move on to the main card. The AEW World Championship match between Bryan Danielson and Jack Perry. Baron, who you got?
Bryan Danielson plays like this babyface thing so well. I expect him to lose every match, I guess. I think it'd be pretty dope to see Jack Perry win.
Okay. All right. The AEW International Championship match between Will Ospreay and the Bastard Pack.
This will probably be my match of the night, just easily. I'll say Will Ospreay wins. I do see some shenanigans happening here because we don't have Ricochet anywhere on this card, right? No, we don't. And I do believe they're going to be pushing that heavily. That Ricochet
and we should. I got it. And we should. Yes.
Yeah. No. 100%. Yeah.
Totally.
No. I want to see it. I've seen it before, but not obviously in AEW. So I want to see that. And it'll be a great match. Everybody knows that. So I think something's going to happen there in that match, but it's going to definitely be match of the night for sure.
Right. The AEW Championship match between Mercedes Moné and Hikaru Shida, and Camila is banned from ringside from this match. Exactly.
Mercedes is definitely going to win this. It's not who I want to win, but she's definitely going to win this. This is kind of her women's division.
Yeah. The AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta.
Young Bucks is probably going to win this match.
Yeah.
Which I want to point out that last night was a Rampage Collision or whatever, they had the tag match, Young Grizzlies, right? Is that their name? I might be messing that up.
Did you say Young Grizzlies?
Yeah, because I was thinking of the Young Bucks, and then it blended into whatever they're called.
Aren't they
The grizzled young vets.
The young grizzles. Let's call them that. That's easier for namesake. Yeah. But FTR came out and they had like a scuffle and like was hinting towards a storyline. We're not seeing that on this card either. I take
right.
it.
Yeah. No.
But Young Bucks, I don't see them dropping the belts anytime soon.
Okay. The Chicago Street Fight between Willow Nightingale and Kris Statlander.
Let's go with Willow.
Okay.
Go Willow.
All right. Steel cage lights out match between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah, this is obviously going to be another really solid match, I think. It's just lights out, meaning the lights are going to be pretty much off, right? I'm not sure.
Lights out means the company is washing its hands of the situation, and whatever happens, the company is not liable.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like, this is clearly going to be a really good match, and I want Adam Page to win every single time he's in. I think he's one of those on the roster that is way too good for the roster. That's just my opinion. He's fantastic. Loved him burning down the house,
Great song.
Yeah, this will be a damn good match. It's just crazy how Swerve has just was champion 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Right. And we've moved past that. So yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they did. Hangman Adam Page did reference the fact that he was champion and he will never be champion again on TV. So there is that. So they did reference that. But you say,
and then burned a man's house down. Okay. Yeah.
Rough week.
Terrible. Asshole.
Rough week for Swerve.
Yeah, my God, lost his belt, got his house burned down, and was told he'll never be a champion again.
So who do you
Damn.
who do you think for that one then, Baron?
I got Paige. I got Paige winning that for sure.
Moving on to the AEW Continental Championship match between Kazuchika Okada, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Takeshita. Jesus Christ.
I see Okada winning this. I don't see anybody else winning this. I think Okada's Okada.
We're not laughing at you, Dizzy. We're laughing with you.
Dude, I'm
glad he's pronouncing them because I should have fucking given it a shot.
You know who else can be really good is the Dapper Yapper, man. I do not envy that guy at all. At all.
He's still
finally good. Oh yes. And finally MJF versus Daniel Garcia.
Good storyline match, like Max was just talking about. This is one of those toss-ups. Like it could go either way, really. I think Daniel Garcia needs to win this match. This is his match to win. I think he has to win this match. Really, love MJF, but he's definitely going to have to take the pin for Garcia on this.
Okay,
so I'm going with Garcia.
Okay. J-Bone, you're next. Do you care about the pre-show matches?
No, but the only thing I'm going to say about it is I'm going to retort what my brother from another show said in here in the chat. It says, is Jay White on the pre-show? And I replied, no, but he should be. As in part of the Bang Bang Gang.
Right.
So no, I might catch a little bit of it, but these are literally thrown in last minute, and just the fact that you're not even going to put Ricochet in there, and he's your hottest youngest, not youngest, but hottest, newest, excuse me, star on your roster, and we went from 40,000. Some seats in the UK. Now we're on our we're on our home turf, the city where it started it all in Chi-Town, and you don't have Ricochet on your show. Shame on you.
That's the white line booking of professional wrestling. Remember that. Let's go to your predictions, sir, starting with the AEW World Championship match between Bryan Danielson and Jack Perry.
Ooh, we're starting out hot. I love Bryan Danielson, but I'm liking that they picked Jack Perry for his first big opponent, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just blow the whole roster to shreds on this first one and shake things up and make Jack Perry the world champ. I'm all for it. I love Bryan Danielson, but I'm comfortable enough to, I was ready 2 weeks ago to say farewell to him. I was, because none of us knew whether he was really going to win and stick around or lose and say farewell. So I'm, put Jack Perry in that top seat. Let's shake things up. I'm all for it.
Okay. The AEW International Championship match between Will Ospreay and the Bastard Pack. J-Bone, who you got?
Oh, well, Ospreay just won this. Who's going to win? The fans. The fans are going to win, damn it, because this is going to be one of the top matches of the night. Yeah. No, Ospreay's going to win, but I'm going to love this match. Pac versus Ospreay. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Okay. AEW TBS Championship match between Mercedes Moné and Hikaru Shida. And remember, Camille is banned from ringside.
That just means that makes room for someone else to come down and join the ranks of Mercedes Moné's CEO tribe.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mercedes is gonna win, but I'm looking forward to seeing Hikaru Shida spanker.
Yeah. Okay. The AEW, and it's a good, I like that. The AEW World Tag Team Championship match between Young Bucks and Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah, Bucks are gonna win here. Okada's gonna come down and flip everyone off. Oh no, that he's in another match. Never mind.
Bitch.
Bitch. Yeah, and I hate that this was just thrown in there because Claudio's literally like, hey, I don't have a match. Hey,
Yeah, right.
Hey. Well, shit. But we already I don't want to beat a dead horse. And it'll be fun. Look, I love the Bucks. I love Claudio and Yuta together. I like the Blackpool Country Club, Combat Club, excuse me. Jesus. It's the weekend. Golf is on. Whatever. But yeah, Young Bucks are gonna win.
All right. The Chicago street fight between Willow Nightingale and Kris Statlander.
With Stokely Hathaway on a pole.
If Russo was booking this, yes.
I'm sorry. Can we please put Stokely Hathaway on a pole? I love Stokely Hathaway. The guy is great. I like this feud. I gotta say that, but this one should have ended a while ago. Hopefully this match will end this feud because but I give them a lot of credit for keeping this going as long as it's been. They are doing well. I gotta go with Willow Nightingale.
The steel cage lights out match between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page.
Oof. That's a tough one. I mean, yes, Swerve has had a rough couple of weeks. Like you said, he lost his championship, he lost his house. But this is all revenge for what he did. You could say almost in another lifetime to Adam Page when he was, top heel in the company, and then he became babyface, and yay, we love Swerve. And then Hangman Adam Page comes back and goes, oh, but remember when he did this, and this? Yeah, F you.
Right.
So, damn. I gotta go Hangman Page.
Okay. The AEW Continental Championship match between Okada, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Takeshita.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Takeshita.
Okay.
I want to see Okada versus Takeshita one-on-one anyway. So this is that might draw a holy shit chant for the evening. I'm gonna enjoy that.
Yeah. And finally, MJF versus Daniel Garcia.
Oh man, Garcia's got to win this one. He's the one that came back and did all this. If they just have MJF win, then why are we doing this?
Right.
I understand his position in the company. I understand who he is, but yeah, we gotta start making stars out of this next bunch of kids. We gave Hook his championship back. Let's make Jack Perry the champ. Let's have Daniel Garcia beat MJF. Let's but then we took a step backwards, like Courtney says in the chat here. Sammy Guevara is on the 0 hour. Yeah, he deserves better.
Yeah, I agree. I
know a lot of people don't like Sammy. I still love Sammy. Get him off the pre-show, for crying out loud.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Let's go with mine. The AEW World Championship match between Bryan Danielson and Jack Perry. First and foremost, this will be probably match of the night number 1, but I'm going to book Danielson to win or predict Danielson to retain because I don't think he's done with the title yet. I mean, you don't pin a title on somebody within 2 weeks and then let them just drop it, you know. So I think Danielson is gonna retain it.
But this is AEW.
I know. I know. The AEW International Championship between Will Ospreay and the Bastard Pack. This is going to be match of the night number 2. And I'm going to say Ospreay to retain because he's top guy in the company right now, one of them. The AEW TBS Championship match between Mercedes Moné and Hikaru Shida. I really hope they don't bury Shida, but I have a feeling they will. So just to be safe, I should say Mercedes Moné, but I'm going to go against everything and say Shida will win. I freaking hope so. But I think we're going to see somebody new debut as part of the CEO camp tonight. I think J-Bone has a right idea for that. The AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Bucks and Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. I'm sure Claudio and Yuta will be buried by the Bucks, so just to be safe, I should say the Bucks, but I'm going to go Claudio and Wheeler Yuta.
Ooh.
The Chicago Street Fight between Willow Nightingale and Kris Statlander. Really don't care about this match. Hope Statlander beats the smile off of Willow's face because I fucking hate it. Steel cage lights out match between Strickland and Hangman Adam Page, and I'm channeling my inner Bubba on this one.
Gotcha.
The steel cage lights out match between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page, match of the night number 3. I'm going to say Swerve goes over on this one. The AEW Continental Championship match between Okada, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Takeshita. I'm going to say Okada because isn't he the Continental Championship or the champion right now?
Okada is, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Okada retains.
Okay.
And finally, MJF versus Daniel Garcia, match of the night number 4. I'm going to say Garcia goes over because MJF will put him over. Yeah, MJF will put him over. And there you go. Those are the predictions for the 2024 All Out pay-per-view scheduled tonight at 7 o'clock at the only time zone that matters, Central Standard Time, Max.
Yeah, mine.
3 guys in here who are on Central Standard Time, and you still claim that Mountain Time is the only time that matters.
Because I'm here. It's my time. Well, that means mine's the only one that matters because I am the marvelous Max Magus. I am the guy that had a 20-year career in the local indies, and you did one show, right? You got in and ring announced at one show. I'm so proud of you.
But you are also the guy. You are also the guy that now that we have 200 subscribers next episode, you need to be in the dress, sir.
We'll talk about that after we go off air. However, I want to talk numbers real quick.
About this right now, you're going to be in a dress next episode because we have 202 subscribers now. You are in a dress.
I'll take a tight fitting girdle.
We will discuss this after we go off air. But I want to talk about the numbers real quick because I was counting stuff up while you two were giving your predictions. There are, if you just look at what is currently announced for All Out, there are 25 people scheduled to wrestle on the pre-show with 3 people as manager capabilities in the corner. On the main roster, there are 21 people scheduled to wrestle with 2 people in manager capacity. Now, I can appreciate your roster's oversaturated. You squeezed as many people as you could in. But don't you think your numbers are a little backwards? Don't you think you should have had more people on the main roster than on the pre-show? For example, Sammy Guevara.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
I totally agree. I don't know. I don't know what to say with that. I really don't. But I do know one thing, Max, and that is we are going to get you in a dress We're going to do it.
Listen,
We're gonna
I
get you an
believe
address.
it was on air that I said I am nothing if not fond of a cheap pop. I have said that I will do it. I'm just saying we're going to discuss why it can't be next week.
Well, we're going to get you no matter if it's not next week. We are going to get you.
Listen, I give you my word. It will
Fund it
be soon.
myself. I will get you the money. You go to you find yourself a damn dress. You put it on. Get it on the damn show. An address. We will make this happen.
I love it.
We will make this happen between the three of us that all want to see you in a dress, and I'm talking about myself, J-Bone, and Baron. We will get your ass in a dress because we have 202 subscribers now to our YouTube channel. Please tell your friends about us and subscribe, and please hit the bell icon. Max, yes, defense.
As a man of my word, I will put this guarantee on this. Sometime between now and October 26th, I say that because that's before Halloween. Sometime between now and October 26th, on a Saturday, you will see me on this show in a dress because of our subscribers. Even though I still maintain I didn't say 200, I'm still going to do it because I like a cheap pop.
All right. Even if we get over to between from now to then, if we get more than 202 subscribers, we're still going to get you an address.
Oh, yeah.
So if our subscribers keep going up and up and up and up and up, and it takes you, our listeners, to tell your friends about us and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. If you want to see Max Magis in a dress on an upcoming show of Ramblers Unleashed, subscribe, and make this happen.
Yeah, we're doing this. I've already agreed. I'm a man of my word. I am going to get this ordered, and I'm going to do it.
All right, we're going to get this. In the meantime, let's I think that wraps up the show. Max Magis, how can they follow you, sir, on social media?
If you're looking for wrestling stuff and more of the general conversation type, come to @MaxMagis. If you want some nerdier stuff on the Twitter, go check out @OurShots Podcast.
And you can find that on all platforms, correct?
Correct.
All righty. All platforms for Random Shots Podcast. Baron, how can they follow you, my good man?
Wait, over here. Wait, my camera, I forget. I'm the opposite way. Scumbag Jordan with 3. 3 ends. Not 2. 3.
Not 1.
Not 2, but 3. J-Bone, how can they follow you, sir?
You can find me on the Twitter box at JBone5150. That's JAYBONE 5150. You can also find me over on that other little show called Total Nonstop Impact, where we cover everything TNA, NXT, and TNA stuff on Tuesday nights. And then we do it all again on Thursday nights, live during TNA and following TNA.
There you go. Follow TNI, the Total Nonstop Impact on YouTube. And you can also subscribe to us. Please subscribe to us on Ramblers Unleashed. You can find us on YouTube at Ramblers Unleashed. Just search for it. If you're watching right now, subscribe. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Ramblers Unleashed. And we're on X too at the Ramblers Pod. We hope you enjoy All Out 2024 tonight live in Illinois. I guess you could say Chicago, in Illinois. And we'll talk to you hopefully if we don't do a review show tonight after All Outs, we'll talk to you next week, same time, same channel. And if we don't talk to you till next week, please enjoy professional wrestling for what it is, no matter what promotion you watch. Love professional wrestling, watch professional wrestling, and then meet us back here on Saturday and we'll talk about it. Until then, you take care. See ya. Enjoy pro wrestling.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications of upcoming episodes.